The reason that people don't succeed is because they have excuses. You cannot imagine a leader weeping, whining, crying, and making excuses. As Mark Twain said, there are 1,000 excuses for failure, but never a good reason. So one of the things we do is there's no more excuses. Either do it or don't do it. Get in or get out, but I don't make excuses. I mentioned this before, but I cannot be too emphatic, is that you can only give away control. You cannot give away responsibility. You remain responsible for yourself for your entire adult life. You can give away control by trying to make someone else responsible for your life, and you do, and then you wait for them to tell you what to do or what not to do, or to give you a raise or to promote you or demote you or hire you or something else. Or you can accept responsibility. And accepting responsibility is mandatory. You cannot go any further. You are literally blocked in place, almost like there's a wall in front of you, until you accept responsibility and make the leap and never make another excuse. So we say that the word responsibility can be broken down into two words, response and ability. It is your ability to respond. Well, in our life, every time we respond effectively to a challenge, we grow and become stronger. And we become more tenacious, and we become more confident, and we become more powerful. So the only thing that we can be sure of is challenges. Your life will be one series of challenges after another. They will never stop. They will come like the waves from the ocean, problem after problem after problem. The only question is, can we respond effectively? And if you do, you continue to grow. As soon as we stop responding effectively to the challenges of outside life, what happens is we begin to implode. So whenever you have a challenge, remember, you just say, well, here we go again. This is what I do. I respond effectively to challenges. And the wonderful thing is, and I learned this in the metaphysics, make the decision that no matter what happens, you will respond effectively. And pre-program yourself, so no matter what happens, I respond effectively. No matter what problem I have in life, I take charge of it, I accept responsibility, and I respond effectively. If you make that decision in advance, then when the problem occurs, it's almost like they push the automatic button, you're already set, and you respond effectively. You don't even have to think, what should I do in this situation? You just respond in an effective way. You don't get upset or angry or weep or cry or lash out at other people. What you do is you say, it's a problem, so we respond effectively. What do we do from here? Very, very important. This attitude is the attitude of the leader.
We know that we only feel good about ourselves to the degree to which we feel we're in complete control of our own lives. And there is a one-to-one relationship between the amount of responsibility you accept and the amount of control you have over your life. In the world of work, you will always rise to the level of responsibility you are willing to accept for results. Your income, your status, your security, your power will always tend to be equal to the responsibilities you take on. Emerson said you can tell how big a person is by how big their responsibilities are. This is one distinct area where winners and losers part company. Winners always look upon themselves as the cause of what happens to them. Losers are always blaming someone or something else. Now, why should this be? Well, of course, from the expediency factor, we know that people always seek the fastest and easiest way to get the things they want. And if something goes wrong, the thing that they want is to get off the hook. So the fastest and easiest way is always to blame someone else. But when we blame someone else, to that degree, we give control of the problem to that other person. And we take control away from ourselves, and we become more negative, and we become more frustrated the more we try to make other people responsible for things in our life that we don't like. High achievers discipline themselves, control themselves, to keep their minds calm, clear, and balanced. Interesting about balanced minds. The great psychiatrist Thomas Sass said there's no such thing as mental illness. There are merely varying degrees of irresponsibility. And John T. Malloy, in his book Live for Success, says that the one big difference between winners and losers, and he said, let's not mince words, let's call them what they are, is that losers never accept responsibility and winners always do. When things go well for losers, they blame it on luck. And when things go poorly for losers, they blame it on the system. But winners accept both the credit and the blame for everything that happens to them. Fully responsible adults always look upon themselves as self-employed. They act as if they own the place. They treat the company they work for as though it belonged to them. The worst mistake you can ever make in your life is to ever think that you work for anybody else but yourself. Everybody is self-employed. You are self-employed. I am self-employed. And all peak performers in every field and industry look upon themselves as though they worked for themselves. Even if somebody else signs their paycheck, they look upon themselves as being self-employed. And they treat the company as though it belonged to them. They treat the company as though everything that happened in that company was theirs. They accept full responsibility. If a paperclip falls on the floor, they pick it up. They never say, that's not my job. When they refer to their company, they say us and our and we. This company instead of they and them and the boss and so on. Now, if you can understand this simple principle, you will understand one of the key reasons why people move to the executive suite and move ahead rapidly in their careers and other people go nowhere. Because bosses, managers, executives are very alert to the degree of commitment that you make to your work. Now, a very important point. Because when we go to school in the first grade or kindergarten, we stay in school for 12 years, maybe we go on to university or college, but we get the impression that our education is controlled by and dictated by forces outside of ourselves, the state, the government, the school system. When we come out of school, we sometimes make the mistake of thinking that if we are to be educated further, it is up to our employer to do it. And this is one of the worst mistakes that you can make, because irrespective of whether or not your employer offers you training opportunities, you are 100% responsible for continuing to upgrade your skills, because you are working for yourself in every single case. A good question to ask yourself is this: if you were to take the stock of your personal company public, would you buy shares in you? Are you the kind of stock that is growing in value and profits every year? Are you the kind of stock that is going up in the marketplace? Would you sell stock in you to widows and orphans as a secure investment, or has your stock kind of flattened out in the marketplace? In other words, are you a growth stock, or are you a stock for a long-term hold? Because truly successful people look upon themselves as growth stocks, and they work upon themselves every day and every week and every year to make the value of what they do worth more as time passes. The winning human being accepts full responsibility for continuously upgrading his or her skills, becoming more and more valuable every year. Now, here's another area of responsibility. The winner always asks, what results are expected of me? One of the qualities of peak performers is that they are always very results-oriented. They always ask themselves, why am I on the payroll? Remember, an important point in life is that people make mistakes. All human beings make mistakes because we are anxious to get things and to do things the fastest and easiest way, because often we're ignorant and we don't know everything we need to know, because often we're ambitious and we're in a hurry, because often we are vain and our egos get in the way. Because of these things, we make mistakes. And all human beings make mistakes, and a person who cannot accept the fact that others make mistakes is not cut out for greatness and is not cut out for leadership. Number 5, the acceptance of complete responsibility for your success is the starting point of all great achievement, which is to sit down and say that anything that is going to happen to you or for you in life is up to you, that you cannot wait or hope that other people will do things for you, that you must take complete charge. Now, you will find a very interesting thing, that when you accept total responsibility for your life, other people will help you. And if you don't, nobody will help you, and even if they do, it won't do any good. So say to yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? What do I want to have? And what do I have to do to get there? And then take full charge of the process. If you walk, talk, and act like a responsible, self-assured individual, you will begin to feel calm, confident, and positive about yourself. If you will resist the expediency factor, the tendency to blame others when things go wrong, if you will discipline yourself to accept full responsibility for what happens in your life, it will raise your self-esteem and make you feel much better about yourself and everything that you're doing. By practicing the self-discipline necessary to refrain from blaming anyone for anything, you will develop courage, character, and self-esteem. If you do what successful people do, you will be successful too, and all successful men and women are self-responsible.
I hope you'll understand that it's in your best interests to take responsibility for everything you do. I'm also going to suggest that many times it's even best to accept responsibility for the mistakes of others. I can hear you saying, what? Accept responsibility for someone else's mess-ups? Why would I want to do something like that? Just look at a baby during the first few years of life. Every gesture, every facial expression, every tentative word has one message for the baby's parents. The message is, I am totally dependent on you. I can't do anything for myself even if I try. I can't be held responsible for the consequences. After all, I'm just a baby. 10 or 12 years later, of course, as the boy or girl enters adolescence, this message to the parents will be very different. It will sound something like this. Why don't you just leave me alone? I want to be totally independent. I don't want to do anything but think about myself. I certainly don't want to accept any responsibility for anything beyond my own very well-defined needs and desires. It's only when we're at last grown up that the first two messages, I'm totally dependent on you, and I'm totally independent of you, finally turn into, you can depend on me, which is the truly adult outlook. There are people in their 30s and 40s who are still acting like adolescents. And there are even people in their 40s and 50s who are still acting like babies as far as their attitude toward responsibility is concerned. These kinds of people can be hard to have around, especially if you have to work with them. Anybody can have an excuse for absolutely anything, and people have never been better at it than they are today. But the downside of excuses, even good ones, is that nobody really believes them. I don't care what people tell you. If you make excuses, they're going to know it, and they're going to think less of you. But if you refuse to rely on excuses, people are going to know that too, and they'll admire you for it. So many people use excuses, but nobody really buys them. It's our modern version of the fable about the boy who cried wolf. An offshoot of the I didn't mean to do it excuse for evading responsibility is the I wasn't myself at the time excuse. It's like being at the helm of a ship. You are responsible for everything that takes place on your watch. You must wake up from the dream that somebody else will handle the pressure, that somebody else will shoot those 2 free throws. I slept and dreamed that life was beauty. I woke and saw that life was duty. A strong character is not a rigid character. In fact, exactly the opposite is true. Although it's important to be firm when you know something is right and to maintain that right position even when the crowd is going against you and wants to put you down. Sometimes when the tide has run against you for a long time, it may be that what you held as a certainty was in fact not true in the light of overwhelming circumstances. It's not only right, it's also smart to be able to see more than one way to accomplish a task. It's wise to see more than one solution to any problem. It's a good skill to see things as someone else might see them. Because when the plan that served you so well for so long doesn't work anymore, then it's time to find another way. It's time to bend. It's time to move on, to change, to compromise, to talk. Or you'll risk snapping like a dead branch in a stiff breeze. I don't really think it's less important or more important today to be open to change and flexible in adapting to it than it has been in the past. It's always been important to be flexible and farsighted, anticipating whenever we can, and when we can't anticipate, being prepared for all possibilities. Sometimes it is best to advance by retreating. Sometimes wars can be won by losing a few battles. And long-term goals can be achieved by accepting short-term reversals. Sometimes it is best to resist like the tall grasses bending in the wind, or like a river finding a new route around an obstacle. A powerful ocean wave smashing onto a beach may wash away a sand dune, but the individual grain of sand simply goes with the flow and is unharmed. Flexibility is simple in theory, but tremendously challenging in practice. It means we have to learn to distinguish between what we can control and what is beyond our control. Practicing flexibility requires great self-knowledge and iron self-control, To be flexible does not mean to be weak, to flounder about aimlessly and confused because we think there's nothing to be done. No, it requires self-discipline.
Hey, life is no joke except to the jokers. Life and how to live it is a serious matter. It is risky, full of peril, and there are constant threats to the good we want and to the pursuit of happiness. However, it is undue concern, or concern that takes up too much mental time, that begins the harm. Think back over all the things that you worried about, all the fantastic, catastrophic events that your well-meaning advisors had told you were going to happen. Be pleased that none of them ever happened to you, or else you would not be alive today. 90% of the things you worry about never happen anyway. All of us have had these well-meaning advisors who want to appear larger in the eyes of those they wish to advise, and who immediately rear back and describe every single bad option they can think of that might possibly happen. By the time they have finished, the one who has come for some confidence and some help wonders why he even bothers to live anymore. And the fact is, those things are never really going to happen anyway. It's like a family planning a wonderful trip. While they certainly should be concerned about the condition of the car, the tires, and making sure they pick the proper route, it would be foolish to allow themselves to be completely turned negative with the thought that they might crash and kill the entire family. If that were the case, even if they went, the entire trip would be turned into one nightmare of fear with the specter of chaos looming around every curve, rather than enjoying the wonderful trip they had planned for themselves and their family. A lot of people do that with their entire life. Worry is fear painting pictures in your mind. And if you watch that mental movie too long, you get a false picture of how things really are. Worry is a mental broadcasting station, and more often than not, it is false or at least distorted propaganda. Worry has that sneaky way of stopping short of giving you all the facts. Worry is often the trickery of mentally filtered facts on the negative side, and the bold declaration that these are all the facts. Worry has the mental audacity to suggest that the elevator only runs one way, down. Many times worry is a 5-alarm bell for a wastebasket fire. And worry is a depletion of constructive emotion. It's wasted mental energy. It's like letting the starter run the battery down when the car won't start. And worry is most often a lack of all the facts, a lack of full understanding, a lack of total information, and an unpreparedness of ability, knowledge, talent, courage, faith, and all the other virtues. That should give us a better definition of worry, and remember, left unchecked, it can become like a mad dog loose in the house, and the sorrow and pain and regret is too large a price to pay not to do something about it, and to do it now. You see, if you contemplated the total sum of human suffering long enough, it would drive you mad. You must understand how life is: human suffering, man's inhumanity to man, war, disease, poverty, but it must be in what I call its rightful ratio of your mental and emotional time. Worry might well be killer number one. And if it is not the number one physical killer, although doctors tell us worriers die sooner than non-worriers, and we have all heard the expression, worry yourself to death, at least it is the number one killer of dreams and achievement, of energy and vitality and lifestyle. I know the damage and effect of this killer, worry, firsthand. Over a period of some 3 years, I let worry get out of hand. I became a super worrier. I was good at it, The combination of small and big worries about my circumstances, what people thought of me, my finances, my abilities, the future, my progress, all led to a complete physical collapse, a stay in the hospital, emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion, and a deep despair I couldn't shake. A sad picture for a young man who should have been well on his way to carving out his share of opportunity. I am happy to tell you that good fortune came my way, and as many of you may be aware, I met a man, Mr. Earl Nightingale, with his ideas and inspiration and the help of a very close friend. I worked my way past the minefields of worry and disaster and out into the clear air of mental sunshine. And if I did it, anybody can do it. I'm not saying it's easy. It took me almost a full year to kick the worry habit. It took practice and much effort, but it was well worth it. Remember, don't ask for the task to be easy, just ask for it to be worth it. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't ask for less challenge, ask for more skills. Don't ask for less problems, ask for more wisdom. It's the challenge that makes the experience, and life and its color and meaning and adventure for you is this collection of experiences. To wish them away is to wish your life away. Bring to question now what your mind tells you or what others tell you, and pledge not to go for false alarms. I've had it is a good beginning. This first step will start you arguing with your worry thoughts. Soon you will start to examine your fears and worries to see if they are valid, and you won't let your mind play those mental tricks any longer. It is possible to destroy any emotion you have, including worry and fear, by a very simple process, and that is, analyze it to death. Drag it out on the table and look at it. Weigh it against all of your past experiences. Make sure this one can stand against all the past facts you have. You will now start to use worry instead of letting worry use you. It's a beginning, being in control instead of out of control. You will now let concern and the first signs of worry prompt you to learn, ask questions, and look at all sides in order to evaluate true, positive, constructive action. Now you can say, I will let fear advise me of the facts, but I won't let fear tell me these are all the facts. Nor will I let fear determine my reaction to the facts. I will gladly take up the war of faith over doubt, reason over fear, and positive expectation over worry. Here is one of the most important lessons in life to learn. Life and business is like the changing seasons, and the real challenge of life is to learn how to handle the winter and take advantage of the spring. In short, that's it. You see, winter always comes, but so does the spring. Night follows day, but also day follows night. Sure, the tide goes out, but it always comes in. Opportunity follows difficulty as surely as difficulty follows opportunity. The study of ants. What do they do in the summer to prepare for the winter? That's a lesson in life and survival. Happiness, wealth, peace, security, success, safety, friendship, reward, results, and all human achievement comes from a growing ability to understand and handle the changing seasons. Each day, each event, each season brings both expected and unexpected challenges that we must think about and make decisions on. Life is like a stream that flows continuously. The better we understand that, the better chance we have to produce good results out of all of our challenges. You see, disappointment is like winter. It always comes. It is foolish to say, don't be disappointed, but you must learn to discipline your disappointment. If it dominates 51% of your time, you're in trouble. Continued heavy disappointment is like 12 months of winter, and 12 months of winter leaves very little alive. Use the guidelines of seasons to adjust to all the meaningful things that happen to you. So concern, fear, and disappointment, like many human emotions, serve a useful purpose as long as they are kept in their rightful ratio. Left unattended, the weeds take over. Disappointment rules. Worry breaks loose. Fear gets the upper hand, and doubt moves in. But managed, worked, given human action with will and knowledge and purpose, and gardens overcome weeds, faith overcomes doubt, and confidence pushes worry into a small place. Those times when worry, like winter, takes its heavy toll. So, we tell it like it is. Winter always comes. So does the night. Some happenings in our life will always be a cause for concern. And sometimes concern turns to worry, and worry turns to fear. But remember, that is to be expected. If you can survive all that has happened to you up to this moment in your life, in spite of doing and thinking many of the wrong things, imagine how you can succeed by now starting to do some of the right things. First, the best answer to worry is confidence, and confidence starts first with awareness. What is the first step? My best advice on this is to first recognize worry for what it is, admit what it does, and then decide you now want to be free. It first starts with decision on your part. And may I add, well, you should decide. Why let worry continue to take money out of your pocket and bank account? Why let worry any longer keep you from becoming all you can be? Why let it rob you of better friendships, better business, better profits, better results, better communication, better family relations? Why impose your worry on others any longer? It's a burden you can get rid of and a monkey you can get off your back. Why not be rid of those sinking, nagging feelings that all is not going to be well, that you can't do it, that it won't work out for the best? Worry is undue concern that takes up too much of your mental and emotional time. Now, we must all be concerned.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.